You know, the mics we used to have. I had to take one of them, sellotape it to the end of the mic stick.
That's not bodging it a bit. That is really
Right.
not how they're supposed to be used.
Stick that on the top, and then talk into it, and it works perfectly. I did a testing yesterday.
Mm.
Don't worry, I won't post anything without running it past you with the quality. Honestly, it works well.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Boxing 365 for the latest episode of Next Card in the Deck. This episode, we're looking at the future now, courtesy of Mr. Ben Shalom and Boxer. And it will be at the First Direct Arena in Leeds, and it features Callum Simpson and Troy Williamson at the top of the bill for the EBU European, British, and Commonwealth super middleweight titles. And that is a banger.
To be honest, yeah, I think you've described that really well. And I don't think there's a lot left to talk about. Now, superb fight, and I think we spoke about it in a previous video that a lot of people have been giving Callum stick about the fact that what's the point in a Troy Williamson fight? Like, what does it bring? But I think he showed vulnerabilities against
Zuko.
Ivan Zuko, which I think, to be honest, before moving up to that next level, which is the world scene after this, you know, you've gone as far as you can, as far as an apprenticeship goes. And I think there's still a few vulnerabilities that need ironing out. And I'm not saying that Troy Williamson's going there as a journeyman to iron them out, but if Callum Simpson wants to compete on the world stage, he beats a man like Troy Williamson. Troy Williamson's coming to knock Callum Simpson's head off. He told us that himself.
Yeah.
He's not going there to lose. He's tough. He's strong. He's naturally a really big guy. God knows how he used to make welterweight.
No.
And I do fear a little bit for Callum. I think is Callum the character to take his eye off the ball? I don't know. Lots going on down there. You all right?
Yeah, trying to get comfy.
Fair enough.
I would also say Troy Williamson looks good at this weight.
Mm.
He looked good last time out, and I think he said himself he felt comfortable, felt sort of the best he's felt in a while. He's been doing his training. Obviously he was the sparring partner of both Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn, which people didn't love. I'm not really bothered about.
Makes no sense to me. If they both hire him, He
He
needs to
gets
get paid,
paid,
doesn't
doesn't
he?
he?
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
and I think that will have, that's it's time with two great fighters as well for him. So I think, yeah, he's going to be coming into this well prepared. He's going to be coming into it with a lot of confidence. I think you got to take confidence from that last win against
100%.
Mark Dickinson. I think the only thing that jumps out to me as being a sort of a divide between these two is Callum is a tall lad.
He's big in it for super
Yeah,
middle as well.
He's got a height and reach advantage over Troy, and I suppose that's it's sort of deceiving though, isn't it? Because he's not necessarily going to just stay at the end of his jab. Now
Not
that would be
notoriously.
intelligently a good way to go about this fight, just keeping him away. But
See, I was going to bring this up, and I actually think, from a boxing point of view, I think people underestimate Troy from a boxing point of view. Everyone knows he's tough and
yeah,
game, but he's a good boxer. And I'll be honest, I don't think Callum Simpson, as far as his boxing ability goes, is all that tidy yet. And that's not saying that, it's not saying he's obviously not at that fringe world level. He is proven that. He's European British champion. He's beat phenomenal names in the sport. Ivan Zuko was a great win, came against adversity. Zach Chelly, for me, really good performance. He
yeah.
was hurt in that fight as well, in the first round, which he came through. So, but I think he's still learning, and I don't think he's disciplined enough to be able to outbox Troy for 12 rounds. For me, I think that's the wrong fight. For me, the Callum Simpson that we saw when he first broke onto the scene, coming out of the small halls when he signed with Mr. Shalom, was high volume pressure. He's got a great engine. So's Troy, but he's got a great engine. Punches in bunches. I'm not saying smother your work because he's a fucker for that and all.
Mm.
But measure your distance. Keep Troy guessing. Keep him working.
I think in a weird way, like you said, his style and everything, you'll be most likely to go in, engage with him, get close, but that's also how he could lose the fight.
100%. And
And
that's
so,
why it's
yeah, I think
interesting.
that's why it's
Yeah.
exciting because I think Troy, with the lack of height and reach in comparison to Callum, is going to have to go out swinging.
Walk on a few shots.
And we've seen his power, and we've seen Callum's vulnerability to power. And so you think, well, it's probably where he needs to be to win the fight, but it's also where Troy Williamson's going to want him
To hurt him.
to hurt him. So it is exciting.
And I'd say as well, just to sort of jump in, sorry, that Troy Williamson, you look at the record of Callum Simpson, Troy Williamson is probably the biggest puncher he's faced, I would argue.
Yeah, I think knowingly going in,
Yeah.
because I don't think people
Zuko
necessarily
wasn't
thought
particularly.
Zuko was a
No.
puncher necessarily.
Chelly's never been a particular puncher. Elvis Ahura,
Horga, yeah.
obviously, he was 13 and 12, but no disrespect, he was fighting random postmen in Uganda, like Zimbabwe, Tanzania, wherever it was. No disrespect to them, but there is a level of where you're stopping opponents, and stopping a Mark Dickinson the way he did. Mark's a tough guy. For me, that's a big statement at that level.
Yeah.
I guess the interesting question would be, because I think they're both at similar points, similar levels in their career. And what I mean by that is, I think the next step is the same for both of them, if that makes sense. If Troy won the European British title at super middleweight, he's already said to us he's not going to want to just sit around, defend it against a few nobodies. He wants this last roll of the dice at a weight he's comfortable at and just see what he can go and do. Callum's at the point where he wants to go and see what level he's at. Who would you like to see the winner in? The winner with in within
In with.
in with.
I'm not really sure.
It's tough
to be
super
honest with
middleweight,
you.
though, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say because where would you go next? Like, there's not like as a world level. I think you don't want to be getting up to the top because realistically, I think even in Britain, Hamza Shiraz, I think beats either of them comfortably.
Yeah, I agree.
At the minute.
I'll tell you who I'd like to see him in with, just thinking about it, and that kind of contradicts what I just said about him wanting to roll that dice at the highest level. So obviously he's already said he's comfortable in and around middleweight, super middle, 160, 168. If he wins Saturday, that makes him a two-time British champion, a two-weight two-time British champion. I'd be tempted, especially now he's with Matchroom again, even if it's only on a short-term deal. I'd be tempted to see him drop back down to 160 and fight George Liddard. Because I think George Liddard has proven himself against Conway. Conway was a really tough fight. Conway argued he was injured going into the fight. Fine, take what you want out of that. But that's a good fight. It's an interesting fight. George is going to want to keep that belt for keeps, which means he's got to defend it 3 times. Could it be? It's one of them. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just like it'd be a good fight.
It'd be a good fight to watch, but I don't think that'd be a good move for either fighter, to be honest with you.
Simpson, I think, will fight another couple of middle at road opponents, and that's not saying Troy's a middle at road opponent. I'm just saying he'll fight some international opponents. With Boxer and this transition of BBC, the realism of it is Ben's already shown he's not willing to work with Matchroom and Queensberry very frequently. I've seen that in multiple occasions. They haven't got any other super middleweights, so it's going to be free agents they're going to be going after, and people that are unattached from any sort of promotional contract, which is a shame because I think someone like an Ammo Williams.
Oh yeah, that'd be a good fight.
Cracking little fight. And I appreciate Ammo again sits for that sort of 160, 168 sort of area. But I do think they're the sort of fights he needs to be looking for. A Diego Pacheco, again, maybe the loser of that fight. So maybe Saggio if he comes off that fight. Maybe the loser of Shiraz Mbili could be an option. But again, Mbili, I think, is with top rank. Ben Shalom he just isn't willing to let his fighters fight elsewhere, which means that unfortunately, unless the BBC are going to stump up huge money, who's Callum Simpson going to fight? And that's my worry for Callum. But I think we've covered that enough with regard to poor old Ben.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see how it goes. I think we've talked about Troy Williamson a couple of times now, and I think he's one of those again where his experience of loss against Josh Kelly, Ishmael Davis, even Ajarko stands him in good stead. Now, obviously, that different weight, different time and point in his career, but he's fought those quality fighters and lost out to those quality fighters. And again, I think that's done the right things for him and I hope that super middleweight he does find his feet. I just wish it didn't have to be against Callum
I know.
Simpson because I'd like them both. Um, and I think again, I think where you were talking about Callum passing his apprenticeship and being ready for world level and not quite being polished yet, I feel like that this fight needs to show that.
Yeah.
If he is going to be world level, then he needs to fight this intelligently,
Yep. Agreed.
use his natural
Size,
sort of
range.
size and range against him,
Yeah. 100%.
and that would suggest to me that you go, right, okay, you can go in with a bit more. I'm sure he does anyway, but he can go in with a bit more of a game plan.
Yeah.
Um, that'd be,
I,
that'd be a
I,
great result.
I'm excited to see it,
Hmm.
and I'd like the winner to get a big fight somewhere out in America. And talking of America, we've got a really interesting one that I did not think we'd ever see on a BBC card, a boxer card. It's random as
It, it
shit, like
it was
mad.
one of those names that when I saw it, I was like, oh my god, where has he crawled from? Like, where has he been? We are talking about Blair Cobbs fighting Elliot Whale at welterweight.
God, what a fight!
Yeah, Blair Cobb's 18-1-1. He's 35 years old now. He was stopped in his loss to Alexis Rocha, which is the fight that I remember of him.
That's the first time I'd ever seen Cobbs and
Yeah,
gone, and he was good.
yeah, it was
Do you know
good.
what? He was good up until obviously Rocha did what he did, which I think is actually the fight where me and you went, Alexis Rocha's good,
Yeah, yeah,
and then obviously he went through his own patchy spell, which he's still in at the minute. But
mm,
but
yeah.
Blair Cobbs,
That was 2022. Now he has fought since then.
he has big
Um,
name on his record. Actually, that win,
yeah.
not the one of old, but it'll age well on his
Well,
record.
I
That
thought that there's actually a couple of these. I mean, Maurice Hooker, Adrian Broner, and Andre Sanchez Ramirez. And I thought Adrian Broner's not a bad name to go and beat, is it? And I
no,
think
not even past his best. I
not even
mean,
past his best.
Broner's a 4-weight world champion.
Yeah,
If he'd not have had such a bad attitude, probably a future Hall of Famer.
yeah.
But yeah, and he'd gone out there, and do you know what? Fair play to Cobbs. I think he dropped him on the way to that win. Uh, he's really good, and it's a weird. I don't know if Boxer are planning on signing Blair
Mm,
Cobbs,
yeah.
but it's a weird one to put one of your. No, this is not a dig, and I don't want to get done for whatever the slander, but
Mm,
considering the amount of fighters that are currently leaving Boxer, putting in one of your last few fighters
mm.
that are sticking with you, an unbeaten, good level prospect in Elliot Whale, putting him in there with someone like Cobbs, who I'll be honest, I'm just going to be open with you. I think he does him.
Yeah, I
If this,
think
it's mad.
it's interesting because obviously Cobbs is 35 now.
Yeah.
Never quite hit the heights after that fight with Rocha, but came back. He had, I mean, between two of the fights that I mentioned, Maurice Hooker and Adrian Broner, he had 2 years out between those fights. And you sort of think, well, what's left? What does he sort of do now?
You don't turn it on, did you?
What does he do now?
Turns the
And
fucking plug on. Is what he should have done.
it's odd that, like you said, that they would make this fight with Elliot Whale. In my opinion, I think it's odd. Because might be a good test for Elliot Whale, but it isn't necessarily. I wouldn't say Blair Cobbs is enough of a wow name, like a superstar name to put on your record and go,
Again, you've got to be conscious with Boxer. They've not got the largest budget at the minute. They've not got the
yeah,
backing of Sky Sports. Blair Cobbs probably didn't want a huge amount of money. And to anyone that watches a bit of American boxing, Cobbs is good.
yeah, he is.
And I do genuinely, and I like Elliot Whale. And I think in his last performance against Ballinger, showed that he's at a certain level. But Blair Cobbs has proven himself, even at again a faded Adrian Broner or a Maurice Hooker, has proven that he can be up there. And if he's got 20% of what he had, he's going to be a tough night's work. And I think his shot selection, I think his footwork, I think the way he fights, he's unpredictable, he's unorthodox. Very, very good.
I
Very
think
good.
his last fight was at Super Welter,
What weight was this at? Sorry, I didn't catch it.
the welterweight.
This is a welterweight.
So his last fight was at Super Welter, so he's coming back now. Like you say, probably just looking for fights where he can get them,
Yeah,
sort
yeah.
of thing. But yeah, really tough test for Elliot Whale, and hopefully he comes through it and has some success going forwards.
I
But
want Blair Cobbs to win just so he sticks around in England. I like him. I think he's all right.
well, we'll have to see about. So we're just going to do a couple of other mentions because the card was quite full, but not necessarily a lot we wanted to focus in on or talk about necessarily. One of the names that cropped up was Tom Rafferty, brother of our British super lightweight champion Jack Rafferty. been all over the weight classes, but he's fighting Grant Dennis at middleweight.
I like Grant Dennis, but he's a slag in it. It's an absolute slut.
He's fighting Grant Dennis at middleweight, and it surprised me to read that Tom Rafferty, his last tipped the scales at 180 pounds. Now he's
That's
fighting.
over the light heavyweight limit. I mean, he's a cruiserweight at that point.
Mhm.
Okay. Hey, look.
But he's fighting at middleweight,
Yeah.
and even before that, so he's 180, and I think before the fight before that, he weighed in at 184.
Did he?
So he's been up and down the weight classes, but he's still 15-0.
Okay.
Um,
I'll be honest, I didn't even know Jack had a brother.
yeah,
Mad, innit?
picked up five knockouts out his 15 fights.
Not as hard as his brother then.
Not as hard as his brother.
Oh, demolition man.
And maybe this is a sign of trying to settle in at a certain weight. Like Grant Dennis is a decent enough opponent where you go, maybe he's decided that middleweight is where he's going to be.
Yeah.
God knows why you would pick there at the minute, but that's where he's gone for.
Fancied his chances against George Liddard and co.
Yeah, must have been. So yeah, that fight's coming up as well. So we've got Tom Rafferty and Grant Dennis. And I also thought I'd make mention of Bradley Casey, who's out for his third professional fight.
Good Casey.
Yeah, who is a young cruiserweight prospect for us. And he's only in his third professional fight, so he'll be
did
early
miss
off the
one.
card. Which is what,
Frankie Stringer versus Levi Giles. I wanted to give that a slight mention. So again, just to clarify, we would love to talk through the whole cards of every boxing event ever, but we would have 4-hour episodes, and that isn't efficient for us or for you.
We already have 40 minutes episodes, and we're waiting to find out what you prefer more, shorter, longer, and we will try and stick to that. But
We will.
This is a bit of a trial of something different.
But just to cover that one, we've got Stringer versus Giles. Giles has tasted defeat a couple of times. Good fight. It'll be interesting to see how young Stringer gets on. Yeah, interesting fight. Looking forward to it.
Interesting card.
Second card on the BBC. Hopefully the commentator learns how to shut his mouth. That's it.
Hopefully so. Right, okay. Usual suspects, the winners, and we'll only do the ones we've mentioned. So
yeah. So top two.
Yeah. So who's going to win? Simpson Williamson.
Hate to choose against Troy, but he's come unstuck at this level before. Appreciate a different weight, but I think Simpson probably, if I'm honest.
And then
sorry, Troy.
The American Blair Cobbs.
I think Cobbs stops him.
Whale. Really?
I do. Yeah.
A shame.
It would, because I actually do like Elliot Whale, and he looked really good. I think he fought Ballingle on a Channel 5 card with Wasserman. And he is good. But there's levels to the game, and I think if Blair Cobbs is fit and ready, I think he's got enough in his toolkit to dismantle a young Elliot Whale. Probably just a little bit too much too soon.
Okay, fair enough. Now our usual section of fight of the night and upset of the night.
I'm going to shock you.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go with the main event for fight of the night.
Well, I can't abide that today.
I'm telling you, I am super, super hyped to see how Cobbs gets on.
Right, okay.
So fight of the night for me, for anyone who's a questionable fan, his style of boxing is super, super easy to watch. And I'm just curious to see what he's got left in the tank. I'm curious to see. I'm just looking forward to it. For me, that's the fight of the night. And I think as well, I think it'll deliver. Elliot Whale's got a bit to prove, grip between his teeth, and Cobbs, again, similar positions, coming over here as the A side, which is a bit of an odd thing to see as well. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
So
really.
Which of the two is more likely to be the upset? Will Whale be
Troy Williamson? I think Troy Williamson does. I don't think he outboxes him. I think we've seen that against Mark because he was losing that fight. And Sonny Edwards said, like, typical case, he's done really well, but not enough. I kind of perceive that being the case. But puncher's chance. Simpson stands and trades and overspends that time in the pocket.
Yep.
Williamson slaps, and it's what it is.
Fair enough.
Card rating, you can ask me, aren't you?
Yeah, how do you actually rate this card?
Don't like it.
No?
Not particularly. For a European British title fight, as big as the main event is, it's a 5. It's a bang vanilla card. Main event's banging. Love that Blair Cobbs has somehow made a random comeback, but that's only good because we liked Blair Cobbs once.
Yeah.
To everybody else, man on the street, it's pretty poor. But it's good.
5.
It's a small hall card dressed up as a televised card, is what it is.
Fair enough.
With a decent main event.
5 out of 10. AI did make some predictions, and that is that Simpson will win by late stoppage. or clear decision, and that Blair Cobbs wins by decision or late stoppage.
Me and Robocop are pretty tuned in.
Robocop are in agreement.
Fair enough.
Right.
Good,
Nice.
good enough card. And I would recommend people tuning in for them top 2 fights, even potentially Stringer, but I feel a bit bad criticising it, but I don't think it belongs any higher than that.
Yeah, fair enough. Right, well, that brings us to the end of this particular episode. There will be some more episodes coming out this weekend and early this week, so please do make sure to keep your eye out for those, and we will see you in the next episode.
Cheers, guys.